Welcome to Lunch with Legacy Leaders, a weekly talk show with local and national thought leaders on issues impacting the Black community. Now introducing our host, Miss Ann Marie Sorrell.
Good afternoon and welcome to Lunch with Legacy Leaders. I am your host, Ann Marie Sorrell, President and CEO of the Mosaic Group. Before we get excited, that just tells you how excited I am. Before we get started with our exciting broadcast, I'd like to thank our sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Thank you to Demesman and Dover Accident Attorneys and AARP. Today, I am joined by a very special guest, Ms. Susan Summons, who's the CEO and founder of SusanSummonsSpeak.com and Susan Summons Your Success Radio Show. Welcome, Susan.
Oh, thank you, Ann. It's a pleasure to be on the show.
Well, we're going to get started today. We're going to do things a little different because I want you to be able to really impact some lives. But before we dive into our show and our discussion, I want to just introduce you officially to our audience so they can understand just how tremendous and phenomenal of a woman you are, and to be gracing us with your presence today. So for those who don't know, Susan Summons, again, she's the CEO and founder of SusanSummonsSpeaks.com and Susan Summons Your Success Radio Show. She's a 6-time Hall of Fame recipient, award-winning, passionate, legendary, 2-time MDC Endowed Teaching Chair Award recipient, retired professor, world-renowned, famed, and well-respected nationally acclaimed motivational speaker, radio personality, educator, both online and in person, WBL Women's Pro Basketball legend, top 100 most influential sports and educator in America, top 50 South Florida Legacy Magazine,
Legacy
Professional. That's right. Shout out to Legacy.
Shout out to Legacy.
National Coach of the Year, 3-time USA Olympic basketball assistant coach, a woman of many cross-career expertise in areas like wellness, health, culture, sports, education, self-improvement, motivation, leadership, team, and staff performance. Susan's speeches motivates you to change lives, invoke action, increase performance, and achieve success. In short, as of today, you will rise with results after hearing Susan's speeches to win in short and win in life. Embrace the power of passion and engage in your inner success. Now, we won't be able to give you a whole Susan speech today, but the first thing we're going to do is start with your journey. I mean, wow. First of all, sports. Let's talk about your journey to sports, women in sports. We know the challenges sometimes. So let's start there, Susan.
Well, Ann Marie, first, I really want to say thank you to you, Miami Legacy, Dexter, and for having me on the show. And this is a great platform. But, everyone has had a different type of journey. And sometimes we go through one door only to come out the other. And so for me, I actually started out as wanting to get into entertainment, into dance. I was a dance major. I was very interested in music and sang in the gospel choir, was in church every Sunday morning. You know what I'm talking about. Sunday school every Sunday morning, getting that little candy from my mom when the preacher would come on. But I was always actively involved, either in the choir, in Sunday school, standing by the piano, watching the gospel piano player play. I would also, as a kid, growing up in Roxbury, spend time listening to New Edition and listening to them harmonize. We would be down in Dudley Station, the historical Dudley Station, right near Spinelli's. Anybody who's listening to this broadcast, if you're from Boston or you hear Roxbury and you're in that area, I know you know Nubian Notion and Spinelli's. So give them a shout out. Good subs. But we would all be standing down there watching them boys harmonize and sing and put it down. I would live right down the street from where Maurice Starr, their first producer, was. And so we would all just be in that same neighborhood. I would grow up with players like Patrick Ewing that played in the NBA New York Knicks, and he was at Cambridge Ringe and Latin, and I was at the Jeremiah E. Burke High School. But as a woman, I came up in a time when there wasn't a lot of opportunities, Ann Marie, for women to really play sports and excel. I was a little bit before my time, but I was a 6-time Boston Neighborhood Basketball League MVP. I was the youngest player playing on one of the top AAU adult women's team with one of the legendary Elfrida Harrises up there in Boston, and snatched every MVP honor, but there was no place to go with it. I had to help my mom. My brother was in the war, during Vietnam War. We had to work. So I decided to go in the Army because I needed to get off the streets.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I needed to do something with my life, because that was during the time when they had the Martin Luther King riots. And we were right in the middle of it. And it was a very dark time. So between playing basketball, running track, qualifying for the national Jesse Owens track meets, and then having an opportunity from the NBA Boston Celtics, Tom Sanders, offering me a basketball scholarship for the summer over going to the national Jesse Owens track meet. I was a track athlete as well. I chose basketball. But I went to that camp and won every award that a girl could win. And I said, you know what? I could do this. I could be very good. But instead, I joined the Army. And then I had an opportunity to get early discharge, honorable discharge from the United States Army. And I came back to Boston and went to a college called Roxbury Community College. At that time, they were using a Catholic church. That was the building that they rented, because they didn't have a building. And we led that program to the national championship in top ranked 5 in the country. And then I decided an opportunity came to go out to California. I threw a party, raised some money, went out to California, tried out for a semi-pro women's team. And I said, I've got to get to college. I don't know how I'm going to pay for it, but I'm going. I'm getting out of here, and I'm going to make something of my life. So I went out to California, made the semi-pro women's team with some of the top pro players in the business today that you hear about: Annie Myers, Sharon Farrer. They all got drafted in the women's pro. And there's that old Susan Summons from a small town in Roxbury right in the mix. They said, oh, you don't have a name. I said, well, don't worry about that. I'm going to make a name. Because when you're focused on life and you're focused on being successful, and I was telling Aaliyah this earlier, is you don't wait. You don't wait for success to come to you. You go get it.
Right.
You go find it. You go embrace it. So I became, at that time, my own PR person.
Okay.
I didn't wait. I started creating press releases and typing up stuff and emailing people and telling them, look, these are the things that I can do and I can help you with. And then I got an opportunity with a coach that was in California that saw me and said, look, we love your game. We want to offer you a scholarship, but we're in Texas. Roxbury to Texas. That's a long way. Completely different opposite ends of the world. But I took the opportunity and ran with it. I didn't know anyone. I didn't know a soul. And the rest is history. I went there, finished number 2 in the state of Texas in scoring, got the Governor's Citation Award down there in Beaumont, Texas. My name and portrait is bronze plated in the famed Babe Dickerson Sahari's Museum in Texas, along with Cheryl Swoops. And nice. I was drafted in the 2nd round of the first historical women's professional basketball league. My dancing career ended because when I was in dance company, ballet, modern dance, and tap, I had injuries to my toes. I had to make a decision. And I said, this is an opportunity to change lanes, because sometimes in life, you have to have the ability to change lanes and try different things and step out on faith and take the risk. Every business person in America or CEO knows that and understands that. Yeah. And everything just unfolded from there. Drafted in the Women's Pro League, went back to Boston. The NBA Boston Celtics great Tom Sanders, Naismith Hall of Fame, trained me. He's like one of my mentors, like my dad. He trained me before I left to go to the women's professional basketball training camp in New Jersey. I went up there, made the team in New Jersey, played a couple of games, and then New England, Boston, got a franchise. Just like the NBA, you get traded. You're in Miami, you're with the Miami Heat Friday night, and Saturday morning, guess what? You get the call and say, sorry, but you've just been traded to LA. You have to pack your bags and be ready to go.
Yeah.
That's what it was like for me. So that's all a part of pieces of my journey that has led to me being involved in a cross-section of education and women's sports, and being a radio personality, working with some of the NBA players on their radio show as a co-host. And in the midst of all of that, continuing to motivate people, go out and speak. I did a keynote speaking segment for Nichelle Hastings, who is the founder of Rise in Perspective with Living in Gratitude event they had in Fort Lauderdale in Davie Monday on Martin Luther King Day. Tremendous event, amazing. Shout out to her and shout out to the event. But it's all about people like you, people like Dexter, the program legacy, changing the world.
Absolutely. So with that, Susan, you have Susan Summons Speaks, and you go around the world doing motivational presentations and motivating people, empowering people. We're still in January, still the start of a fresh year. We know that, for many people, the last 2 years have been challenging, whether personally or professionally, whether they're employed by someone or unemployed, or they have their own business or whatever it may be. It's just been challenging. And a lot of people, you could definitely feel the energy coming into 2022, where people were just like, they were a little hesitant to say it's my year, but we're still like, 2022's got to be something better. It's got to be fresh, just a revived energy. I've even coined it as, for me, Vision 2022 for me. Give us some motivating tips. Like, what are your top 3 to 5 motivating tips for our listeners for 2022 and beyond?
So here's the way I would respond to that, Ann Marie. First of all, we're all wearing red. You have on red, I have on red. Yes. And significantly so, red is a very powerful color. And it really denotes fire. So this show is on fire today because we're wearing red, but because also I have 6 undeniable benefits that help everyone achieve success if they understand the concept and embrace gratitude.
Okay.
Now, some individuals in this turbulent time decided to stand still and see if the pandemic would leave. And they stopped working on their goals. They stopped pushing. They stopped, as I would say, keeping their sleeves rolled up to keep fighting and pressing forward to reach their dreams. And some individuals decided, we're not standing still. We're not waiting. We're going to still pursue that radio show. We're still going to pursue that job interview. We're still going to pursue writing that book. We're still going to continue to pursue getting that book published. I chose to continue to keep my sleeves rolled up and continue to move forward, because devastation doesn't last, but strong people do. And sooner or later, there'll be a change that will unfold. And you want to be ready when that change is unfolding and when this pandemic has cleared off of your desk, like the paperwork sometimes that piles up.
Ooh.
So, in my 39 years as an educator, a professor in the classroom, a researcher, there are 6 undeniable benefits that I think individuals could really embrace. First of all, I am grateful every day, Ann Marie, to have the opportunity to talk to people like you, to be a part of what you're doing, Dexter, Legacy, to just go out and tell someone thank you, to just go out and tell someone something positive. Maybe they're having a bad day and you don't know it. Maybe what you said to them changed their life and changed their outlook, or motivated them to take that step on a staircase that maybe they can't see.
Yeah.
So 6 undeniable benefits. One is embrace gratitude, and just have an appreciation itself makes you feel good. When you
Yeah.
feel, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You feel good, you look good, you perform good. I mean, look at me right now. You see, I have this Hall of Fame ring on.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good, but I'm grateful. And I'm grateful for being in this moment with you. Enhances your self-esteem, your passion. You got to have passion to continue to move forward and be successful. And sometimes we worry about the things that we don't have instead of enjoying the things that we do. And it
Oh
takes
yeah.
away and it moves away and it reduces our level of really being happy and happiness. So focus.
Let me pause you right there,
Yes,
Susan,
yes.
because I think, I totally understand the feeling of gratitude and being grateful, but for some people that doesn't come easily. But you got some folks who are naturally pessimistic,
Hey,
right?
yes, yes.
So
And
what's one or two things that people can do to practice gratitude every day?
well, one or two things they can do is, and I get it, some people are pessimistic, some people even are procrastinators.
Hmm.
Habits. So you got to change the habit and change the mindset. That's one thing you have to do. Change the mindset and change that faulty thinking, that defeating thinking, that negative thinking that causes you not to move forward. That's one strategy. And a second strategy is use self-affirmation. Self-affirmation is so irrelevant. It is so effective. When I teach in the psychology area, I often use many of those strategies. Self-affirmation. If you have to write yourself a little note and stick it on your refrigerator or put it on your desk or put it in the dashboard of your car. I actually had several students write a sticky and put it in the dashboard of their car to say, make sure you're on time for the interview. Have a great day, reminding themselves of the good things that are happening in their life instead of being inundated and thinking about the negative things that are going on in their life.
So you like having little some post-it notes or notes to yourself that says what you're grateful for.
Well, self-affirmation, grateful for
Okay.
this. I'm thankful for this. Listen, I had a great interview, or I'm going to do well on this interview. I'm going to do well in class. Or I have a CEO presentation. I'm going
Hmm.
to do well at this presentation. I'm going to get some sales. My book sales are going to increase. So self-affirmation about all the positive things. And it helps to also improve the negative habit of having that self-defeating thinking and that faulty thinking. It
Got
helps to
you.
change it into a positive mindset and positive thinking. And the more positive thinking you can have, the happier you will be, the more you're willing to say to someone, hey, have a great day. I'm grateful. People ask me, what are you grateful for today? I get that question a lot. What are you thankful for today? Or they'll say, well, how are you doing? And I'll say, I'm doing amazing. It's one of my favorite lines. They say, I'm doing amazing. Well, why are you doing amazing? I said, because I'm alive.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
breathing.
Hmm.
I woke up this morning. I'm healthy. I have my health. Your health is your wealth. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
Right.
So
So
self-care is very important.
so I
But
definitely want to make sure we have time to get to the other five.
yes, so I'm
Um,
going to move forward. Motivation,
okay.
gratitude, and just being thankful motivates you. It stimulates you to be motivated. It promotes positive thinking. I mentioned that. And it also promotes positive energy. We have some great energy on this show. Energy, good energy begets good energy. You attract good energy when you yourself have positive energy. You get the job,
Absolutely.
you get the sales pitch. Make gratitude and just being thankful makes you resilient and allows you to overcome all kinds of adversity, Ann Marie. All kinds. You're feeling good, you're positive, something comes at you that's an obstacle or adversity. Instead of getting down, instead of making excuses, fight through it. It allows you to deal with any type of adversity. Or you might even experience the Susan Summons, keep your sleeves rolled up mentality to keep pushing. Here's another one. How about improving overall wellness?
Hmm.
Overall wellness, Ann Marie. Your health is your wealth. You got to deal with the mental, the physical, the
Yes.
emotional, the environmental, the
Hmm.
spiritual, the intellectual, and the
Mm.
environment. Sometimes it's not the physical, but it's the environment. Sometimes it's not the environment, it's your mental wellness. Self care is very important,
So important.
especially at a time right now. So shop, stop, take inventory, check your shopping cart to make sure you're not empty with any of those wellness components. Number 5, gratitude helps you to relax your mental state. If you're happy, there's a lot of research data that shows the happier you are, the more relaxed you are, the more successful you are, the healthier you are. It relaxes your mental state so you can be more creative. You can create. You can be a better critical thinker. You can be a better problem solver. And it becomes acute and it reduces stress. The silent killer, you can't see stress. It just sneaks up on you like a TKO. Whammo. And then lastly, gratitude and a benefit of gratitude and just being thankful is it produces and builds happy relationships. Relationships is what we cultivate. We network. We're building a relationship now. We go to events and we network. We're creating that seed. We're planting that seed. And success is also about relationships, but it's also about leadership and service. Service is leadership. Relationships with your spouse, your wife, your husband, coworker, your job, your boss, your friends, your daughter, your son, your significant other, relationships, it helps. So if you forgive, you heal. When you forgive, you heal. When you let go, you grow. And being a leader and having great leadership principles and becoming successful or being successful is all about growth and growing forward. Letting the negative stuff go that's holding you down like an anchor. And we all know if we're driving a speedboat, Bayside has a great speedboat and they rent it out for an hour. And we all know in a speedboat, if the anchor is in the water, that speedboat doesn't go.
Doesn't go anywhere.
Because the purpose of an anchor is to hold you down. Well, that's what this is about. Negative stuff and stuff in the past holds you down and prevents you from stepping into your increase, prevents you from stepping into your growth, and prevents you from stepping into your success and your next accomplishment and dream.
Wow. I mean, you couldn't have said it better, Susan. So, I just want to have you elaborate a little bit on something. When we talk about, I think this pandemic hopefully has taught many of us to be present, be in the moment. Like you said, be grateful. Oh my God, just grateful to breathe in so many aspects of the word. Grateful for life, but what do you say to people who are super, super ambitious, always trying to go and get to the next thing, really don't take the moment to stop and appreciate or be still or and it's nothing wrong with being the go-getter and ambitious and all of that, but it really kind of goes against a lot of those 6 principles that you said because it causes more stress. It doesn't it is not that those persons, I'm kind of speaking to myself a little bit, are appreciative and grateful for what they currently have, but it's like they just want more and more and more and more. So what do you say to those? How do you balance that? Because I think it's not a bad thing, but how do you balance that?
So one strategy, and that's a great comment, Ann Marie, that's a great question, and it's very real. You wouldn't be human if you could not share the other side of that spectrum. But for every Fortune 500 CEO in America, and every CEO like yourself, balance is critical. And you have to have the ability to step back, shut the phone off, shut the computer off, shut the lights off even, and just sit in the quiet and listen to the quiet. There is much to hear in the quiet. And what you're hearing and listening to is your heartbeat. You're listening to you. You're listening to your spiritual growth, because it's not just about the tangible items and what you have around you and what you got or it's about you. How do you continue to replenish you, to nourish you, to regenerate you? You can't stop in the gas station and get a tune-up. So you have to do your own tune-up at home in quiet. Self-care is so important to individuals like you and anyone else who's listening to this show. When you are pursuing your dreams and you are the CEO, you have a great deal of balancing that occurs. You have to multitask. And with that comes the ability that you have to recognize the warning signs that your health is being affected. And how can you stop and appreciate someone else or give to someone else the riches if you are deplenished yourself and you've reduced? So you have to stop, you have to regenerate, you have to I'll use the word refuel. You have to check your shopping cart yourself.
Yes.
And you have to fill it back up before you go back out.
Yeah.
And those are some of the strategies that I would say to you. I say and use those same strategies to myself because I'm on the go, I'm moving, but I also recognize this. Too much is to be expected, too much is required. And God only gives you as much as you can handle. He's never given you no more, and he's never given you no less. He only gives you exactly what you can handle, and he wouldn't give it to you if you were not equipped to handle it and embrace it.
Well, Susan, you have said a whole word today. And I truly hope that, our audience who is listening, is empowered and impacted by you. Now, how do we get more of Susan?
Well, you can go to SusanSummonsSpeaks.com. You can also subscribe to my Susan Summons YouTube channel. And you can follow me on Susan Summons Facebook, Susan Summons LinkedIn. And I'm here, I'm around, and I'm available. And again, legacy, lunch with legacy leaders. Ann Marie, Dexter, and Aaliyah, who's the producer behind this show, doing a phenomenal job. I told her, don't wait on your dream. Go get your dream.
Yes.
You're very talented. You're artistic. You are producer inclined. Stop talking about it and go ahead and be about it. And just like the Nike commercial, just do it.
Absolutely. No. So do you have an upcoming event or anything coming up?
I just finished an event on Monday with Rise in Perspective, Living in Gratitude event in Davie with Nichelle Hastings. And I actually, from that, I've gotten a number of emails, phone calls from that event. Someone has contacted me and they just hired me as their speaker coach. So
nice.
And so I'm busy with that client as we speak. And I've got some events. I've got calls to do events in February, events in March. And so, God is just working.
So you're open for bookings, number one.
I am open for booking.
Okay.
And I'm open just to give that message to continue to help people increase, because I'm grateful and I want them to be grateful, but I'm thankful just to be able to be a part of this show. And I don't know if you're aware of it, you may be, but in 2013, Legacy honored me as one of the top 50. And you mentioned this in your initial broadcast. And think about it, 2013, it's 2022. And when I mentioned that to him, we was on the phone yesterday. We're good colleagues, and I've been a huge supporter and fan of Dexter for years. But journeys, are created over time. And while that journey is happening, you are under construction. and that's okay, because the bad stuff makes you better.
Yeah. And
you're being rebuilt. And when you come out of that construction, the renovations, they are amazing.
Yes.
And it's not about what anybody thinks. It's not about what anybody is saying, because if you know who you are, and you know what the blessing is and the gift is, you don't worry about anything else. You just do, and you make it happen. So
That's
I
right.
want to thank Dexter. I want to thank you, Ann Marie Sorrell, the audience, anyone that was listening today on this Lunch with Legacy Leaders show. Tremendous show, doing big things. Dexter and Ann Marie are doing big things. CEO, Mosaic Group. And I just want to say to you, I'm thankful to be a part of your show today and hopefully empowered your listeners.
Well, thank you. You have been phenomenal, Susan. We definitely look forward to following you. Please, everyone, check out her website, susansummonspeaks.com. Be on the lookout for any events that she has coming up, as well as make sure if you have an event coming up, be sure to book her. Let's make sure we're supporting one another as well as we move forward, especially in this, new era that we're in, whatever that is.
It's a new world. It's a new global economy. We all are doing things different, and that's great. And people are learning and discovering, oh, there's a new way of living. There's a new way of working. I don't know if I want to really go to work. I can work at home. I can be home with my family. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, life changes, and you have to be willing to change with it sometimes. Be optimistic versus pessimistic. But if you go to my website, susansummonspeaks.com, and click on engage, that will take you right into the booking speaker site. And I'm available. Legacy.
Is there a book coming, Susan?
There actually is a book coming.
Okay.
There is a book, Susan Summons book, that's going to be launched for release in December of 2022. So I'm also working on that. I'm writing and finishing the manuscript as we speak. And I've already talked to about 3, 4, 5 different publishers to research. I've got a lot of colleagues that support what I'm doing. They have been waiting for me to do this. They've been encouraging me. On the other side of the spectrum, I've been focused on winning national championships or helping students graduate and moving them on to universities across the country and motivating them in the classroom. So I'm out of the classroom. I'm off the floor. I'm in the Susan Summons, keep your sleeves rolled up mentality. And I'm just doing it in a different lane, but on a national and global level.
I love it.
I appreciate you. Love you. South Florida, big ups. Keep rising. Because there's nothing but champions out there.
Absolutely. Well, let's definitely create more champions. I appreciate you. Stay with me for a moment. Let me just do some quick announcements. And again, everyone, please follow Susan Summons and check out her website, susansummonspeaks.com. Thank you again to our sponsors for making this broadcast possible, the Mesman and Dover Accident Attorneys and AARP. And make sure you check out our current issue of the most influential and prominent women in business and industry. We also will be releasing very soon our Black History Month issue. So be on the lookout for that issue in the coming weeks. And lastly, please be sure to watch our MIA Media Group shows. On Mondays, we have The Business of Black Business at 1 p.m. with Jay Reynolds. Tuesday, My Money, Your Money at 7 p.m. with Bridgette Lumpkins. Wednesday, we have Soul, which talks about entertainment, culture, fashion, and so much more at 7 p.m. with Nikki Jellin. Thursdays, of course, yours truly with Lunch with Legacy Leaders at 12 noon. And the flavor of South Florida, where we are giving you the flavor of all of the amazing Black-owned restaurants in South Florida. And that's at 7 p.m. on Thursday nights with Chef Irie. Of course, as always, make sure you subscribe to the various social media outlets and follow us. Make sure you share this video and mark your calendar for next Thursday. Tune in and we'll see you at noon. Thank you again, Susan.
Thank you, Ann Marie. Thank you, Legacy.